Good morning. Hey, I wanted to talk about blaming and anger. And, I caught myself doing this morning, and I interrupted the pattern. So I just kind of wanted to tell you what happened. So I'm going through this thing. I guess I do it every morning. Maybe Monday mornings are more prevalent, but I was thinking about things that I can rectify, things that I can correct, things that I still feel guilty about, I guess is the word, right? Things that maybe if I go back and do this, I can take care of this and fix this or whatever. So this is what's crazy is I'm thinking about the anger that my ex had at me when I caught her on the cheating. And part of me, because what I did was I called, she was having this affair, I found out about it, and so I called the spouse of the guy she was having the affair with. And I was, I don't have anything against her. I mean, I just let her know, hey, our spouses are, getting together at this hotel rooms on these days, and I thought you'd want to know about it, And she was like, oh, okay, I gotta go. She, this kind of like upset her or whatever, but anyways, that's something else. But my guilt was over that I may have ruined my ex's chances for having a relationship with this guy. And how messed up is that, right? I mean, I'm feeling guilty for possibly saving his marriage and trying to save mine is what it boils down to. But when I'm thinking in my head, I'm thinking about how I messed up my ex's plans. Like, I don't want to disappoint her. So that is where a narcissist can really get into your head like that, like making you conditioned to believe that it is your fault, that, they're where they're at because of you. And if you hadn't done this, or if you had done this, or whatever, they pinpoint it back to us. And I'm here to tell you that even after 2 years of knowing all this stuff on the surface, that emotionally, I still think about that, like, wow, if I was just a better guy, I could have, helped them do this or help get them together or whatever. It's just a really weird way of thinking. So if that can seem that silly to you hearing this, I mean, you understand it, but I mean, how unhealthy is that to think that, wow, if I could have just helped her cheat, if I could have just helped her deceive the other woman, maybe kept their relationship kind of secret, if I could have just done that, I could have helped her, I could have made her happy finally, That's the kind of thinking patterns that when we're in the heat of it, we don't even recognize it as a thinking pattern. We just recognize it as the truth, the reality. And I'm here to tell you that after 2 years, I'm seeing that, wow, I've still got I still have some patterns where I'm actually thinking that I'm the bad guy still. Okay? And so if I'm doing that after 2 years, and some of you are here on after a month, or maybe you haven't even gone no contact, there are so many things subconsciously that you're not even seeing, probably, is my guess, that you just have to kind of trust that the people around you in these groups are kind of giving you a preview of like, hey, you need to get away from that person. There's so many things. And see, the longer you're around these people, that pattern's getting reinforced over and over again. And so that's why no contact is really the best way to get yourself back to sanity. It's not some parlor trick or whatever. No contact is something you really want to make sure you do. And I wanted to talk also a little bit about anger. There's two different types of anger. There's just plain anger, just out of somebody's angry. And then there's something called righteous anger. And this is more biblically based. And I don't want to go too much into the Bible about this. I'm not a big Bible studier. I just know principles, and these tend to apply with this. And this is the only way that I know how to talk about this, is the righteous part. But righteous anger it's anger against some actual sin, all right? And that can be the type, it's not somebody who, you didn't get me the right type of cereal, so I'm angry at you, and they're going to hold a grudge against that. That is not righteous anger. And righteous anger is also, I'm trying to think here. Righteous anger is also a controlled type of anger, where the anger that you're experiencing is anger that is actually meant to do good. Okay, so, you discover an affair, you're righteous, you have righteous anger about it, but nobody can take that away from you, and the narcissist will try to minimize it or deny it or say that it's unimportant, but that's the other component. It's a morally accepted, recognized truth, or something that people would, if you took that circumstance and you told somebody else about it in another situation, they would go, oh yes, that's something to be angry about. It's a global thing. It's not something about cornflakes or you were always late again or whatever, but righteous anger is something that it's righteous. It's you have a right to be angry. And when we're around these angry people, these narcissists, we tend to get angry ourselves about things. We tend to kind of mirror their behaviors, which isn't healthy either. So that's just a couple of things. So with righteous anger, the difference is, I just point out some of the differences, but the righteous anger is something that, talk about not blaming yourself. It's not your fault you got angry. You're reacting to, you've been put in a circumstance, and usually the narcissist will box you in, and they know it because, again, they've been doing this since they were younger. They're skilled at manipulating people. So you're put in usually a situation where it's one that whatever answer, whatever you do, it's a no-win situation. So, and when you feel trapped like that, it's easy to lash out, right? And that anger is against the abuse because you're getting abused and you don't even know it. So my point is that you're not an angry person. Don't blame yourself for acting out in certain ways, because chances are when you got away from them, you're not an angry person anymore. You're not acting out. You're not doing these things. But righteous anger is very healthy. And in fact, if you didn't have any anger, if you had the numbness or indifference, I would be more concerned about you, because that could be somebody who's almost kind of given up, like, I can't win anyways, and feeling powerless and shameful and just so the anger is actually a better place to be before you get to that next step, and hopefully you'll never get there, which is just the numbness. So now I'm kind of all over the map on this. It just really struck me today that I was thinking of myself and doing that thing where I just kind of analyze, where do I feel guilt? Where do I still feel guilt? Well, gosh, she would be, because she is blaming me. I've got texts that, it's my fault for the divorce and everything, even though she filed. It's just crazy. But I know, I logically know what happened, but still the emotional part, it's still, it's a deep thing in somebody's brain and somebody's mind, and so that doesn't always just heal itself right away. But the important thing is to recognize it, to have the knowledge about it, to do have the logic, because the heart will catch up to the head, but it is a process, and it is interrupting your normal thought patterns. I like to say, we interrupt this normally scheduled broadcast to bring you this important announcement. That's kind of how it is. How you're watching TV, and then there'll be an announcement. There's maybe a storm coming in the area, and the weatherman comes on, and your normal patterns are being interrupted, and that's kind of what you want to keep doing until you get to the point where you don't have all this anger and all this other stuff. You just kind of put it on correction. And how do you put it on correction? How do you know what's right? Well, the most important thing I think you can do is listen to your gut. Listen to what's right, because you do have a feeling about it, and chances are, you've been abused for so long, or you've you've had your feelings invalidated, you're told that what you're thinking about isn't important, you know, through gaslighting and all that good stuff, that it's still there, but you haven't been listening to it, and it's just kind of finding that inner voice again, going back to what you know, getting that connection. Because when you don't have that connection here, you know, this is your heart, and your heart's telling you what to do. Some could say it's God, it's Buddha or whoever, but you've got that inner consciousness, and it's telling you what to do if you listen to it. But you got to tap into it, right? It's got to be your head and your heart. This consciousness has to be aligned in order for you to feel like you're moving forward, things are good. But what's happened is, with the narcissist, that connection's been severed, and so to get that back, well, it's been severed. So what you do is you we're in a pattern like me, possibly, where I would look, since I didn't have this here, I didn't know what was right, I would look to others around me for validation. Hey, is this right or whatever? And especially the narcissist, because that's what they want. They don't want you connected to anything outside of themselves, because the narcissist, that gives them less control over you. If you're getting self-control by doing this, by being connected with the head and the heart, they can't control you as much. So yeah, they abused you for their own selfish reasons, not that you were a bad person or anything like that. And that's the thing too, is to take all the judgmental words, the good and bad. Well, that's bad, or that's good, or whatever. And you know, give yourself a break. At least that's the way I look at it. You know, if you're on here and you're looking at yourself, you're doing self-examination, you're one of the good ones, okay? If you want to think of it good or bad, but just know that you're on a higher consciousness than that person that you were with. You were never compatible, okay? Not for a long-term thing. You were never compatible if you're going to grow, if you're going to change. And you know, maybe you're thinking, wow, I guess that's the type of person I attract. That's who it's going to be. And no, that's part of the thinking. That's part of the brainwashing that they instill upon us, you know, from reinforcement over and over and over again. There's so many mind control techniques that work with the narcissist. They don't even know their own power. I mean, they kind of do, like they're all about power and control. And that's the thing. We think about love and getting along and cooperation, collaboration. They're all about power and control. They never see eye to eye with you. They have to look down on you in order to feel good around you. If they're happy around you, that means that they got you here and they're here. Okay? If they're upset, that means maybe you're coming too close to them. Maybe you're showing them up. Maybe you're, you know, have you ever had that where you've got something great and you want to share it with them, and then they see how happy you are and they're like, oh God, you know, they get all angry because you're happy. Yeah, that's not a good, healthy thing to be in. But yeah, the anger, the guilt, the blame, you would always get blamed. They're perfect. They can't have anything wrong with them. So just realize that, and realize it's still going on. You break no contact, or you go no contact, so you break it off with them. You don't have that anymore. But realize that the patterns, the reinforcements, the neural pathways are still there in your brain, and it's going to take a while. So you're probably going to do what I did. I was like blaming myself, but I recognized it and interrupted my pattern enough to think about it enough to say, hey, I'm going to make a video about this. I'm going to come on here and talk to you guys about this, because chances are we're kind of going through the same stuff, right? But anyways, it's great. I mean, hey, just minor things like that I can correct, all right? And correct him to be healthy, not because it's bad or good, just I always want to live the most fullest, authentic life that I can. And I think to be aligned from here and here with the head and the heart, that's the most important thing I can do for myself. And if I'm better at that, then I can be more of service to others. I can help others, you know, kind of think about their ways of thinking too. So anyways, I hope this helps you in any way. Hopefully it wasn't more confusing. The narc did plenty of that, making you confused. So I didn't want to do that. But anyways, you guys have a great day, and love you guys. We'll talk to you later. Bye.